during her tryst with Taylor the night before. "Good morning," I respond as she hands me a cup of tea. I sit on beside my husband, who just looks radiant, freshly showered, his hair still damp, wearing a crisp white shirt and that silver gray tie, my favorite tie. I have fond memories of that tie. "How are you, Mrs. Gray?" he asks, his eyes warm. "I think you know, Mr. Gray." I gaze up at him through my lashes. He smirks. "Eat," he orders. "You didn't eat yesterday." "Oh, bossy 50. That's because you were being an arse." Mrs. Jones drops something that clatters into the sink, making me jump. Christian seems oblivious to the noise. Ignoring her, he stares at me impassively. "Arse or not, eat." His tone is serious. No arguing with him. "Okay, picking up spoon, eating granola," I mutter like a petulant teenager. I reach for the Greek yogurt and spoon some onto my cereal, followed by a handful of blueberries. I glance at Mrs. Jones and she catches my eye. I smile and she responds with a warm smile of her own. She has provided me with my breakfast of choice, which was introduced to me on our honeymoon. I may have to go to New York later in the week. Christian's announcement interrupts my reverie. "Oh, it'll mean an overnight. I want you to come with me." "Christian, I won't get the time off." He gives me his "oh really, but I'm the boss" stare. I sigh. "I know you own the company, but I've been away for 3 weeks. Please, how can you expect me to run the business if I'm never there? I'll be fine here. I'm assuming you'll take Taylor with you, but Sawyer and Ryan will be here." I stop, because Christian is grinning at me. "What?" I snap. "Nothing, just you," he says. I frown. Is he laughing at me? Then a nasty thought pops into my mind. "How are you getting to New York?" "The company jet." "Why?" "I just wanted to check if you were taking Charlie Tango." My voice is quiet, and a shiver runs down my spine. I remember the last time he flew in his helicopter. A wave of nausea hits me as I recall the anxious hours I spent waiting for news. That was possibly the lowest point in my life. I notice Mrs. Jones has stilled, too. I try to dismiss the idea. "I wouldn't fly to New York in Charlie Tango. She doesn't have that kind of range. Besides, she won't be back from the engineers for another 2 weeks." Thank heavens. My smile is partly from relief, but also the knowledge that the demise of Charlie Tango has occupied a great deal of Christian's thoughts and time over the last few weeks. "Well, I'm glad she's nearly fixed, but..." I stop. "Can I tell him how nervous I'll be when he flies next time?" "What?" he asks as he finishes his omelet. I shrug. "Anna," he says, more sternly. "I just, you know, last time you went, I thought, we thought you'd..." I can't finish the sentence, and Christian's expression softens. "Hey," he caresses my face with the backs of his knuckles. "That was sabotage." A dark expression crosses his face, and for a moment, I wonder if he knows who was responsible. "I couldn't bear to lose you," I murmur. "5 people have been fired because of that, Anna. It won't happen again." 5? He nods, his face serious. Holy crap. That reminds me, there's a gun in your desk. He frowns at my non sequitur and probably at my accusatory tone, though I don't mean it that way. "It's Layla's," he says finally. "It's fully loaded." "How do you know?" His frown deepens. "I checked it yesterday." He scowls at me. "I don't want you messing with guns. I hope you put the safety back on." I blink at him, momentarily stupefied. "Christian, there's no safety on that revolver. Don't you know anything about guns?" His eyes wide. No. Taylor coughs discreetly from the entrance. Christian nods at him. We have to go, Christian says. He stands, distracted, and slips on his gray jacket. I follow him into the hallway. He has Layla's gun. I am stunned by this news and briefly wonder what's happened to her. Is she still in... Where is it? East somewhere? New Hampshire? I can't remember. Good morning, Taylor, Christian says. Good morning, Mr. Gray, Mrs. Gray. He nods at us both, but he's careful not to look me in the eye. I am grateful, recalling my state of undress when we bumped into each other last night. I am just going to brush my teeth, I mutter. Christian always brushes his teeth before breakfast. I don't understand why. You should ask Taylor to teach you how to shoot, I say as we travel down in the elevator. Christian gazes down at me, amused. Should I now? He says dryly. Yes. Anastasia, I despise guns. My mom has patched up too many victims of gun crime, and my dad is vehemently anti-gun. I grew up with their ethos. I support at least 2 gun control initiatives here in Washington. Oh, does Taylor carry a gun? Christian's mouth bends. Sometimes. You don't approve? I ask as Christian ushers me out of the elevator on the ground floor. No, he says, tight-lipped. Let's just say that Taylor and I hold very different views with regard to gun control. I'm with Taylor on this. Christian holds the foyer door open for me and I head out to the car. He has not let me drive alone to SIP since he found out that Charlie Tango was sabotaged. Sawyer smiles pleasantly, holding the door open for me as Christian and I climb into the car. Please. I reach across and grasp Christian's hand. Please what? Learn how to shoot. He rolls his eyes at me. No. End of discussion, Anastasia. And again, I am a child to be scolded. I open my mouth to say something cutting, but decide I don't want to start my workday in a bad mood. I fold my arms instead and glimpse Taylor regarding me in the rearview mirror. He looks away, concentrating on the road in front, but shakes his head a little in obvious frustration. Christian drives him crazy too sometimes. The thought makes me smile, and my mood is saved. Where is Layla? I ask as Christian gazes out of his window. I told you, she's in Connecticut with her folks. He glances at me. Did you check? After all, she does have long hair. It could have been her driving the Dodge. Yes, I checked. She's enrolled in an art school in Hamden. She started this week. You've spoken to her? I whisper, all the blood draining from my face. Christian whips his head around at the tone of my voice. No, Lynn has. He searches my face for a clue to my thoughts. I see, I murmur, relieved. What? Nothing. Christian sighs. Anna, what is it? I shrug, not wanting to admit to my irrational jealousy. Christian continues. I'm keeping tabs on her, checking that she stays on her side of the continent. She's better, Anna. Glenn has referred her to a shrink in New Haven, and all the reports are very positive. She's always been interested in art, so... He stops, his face still searching mine. And in that moment, I suspect that he is paying for her art classes. Do I want to know? Should I ask him? I mean, it's not as if he can't afford it. But why does he feel the obligation? I sigh. Christian's baggage hardly compares to Bradley Kent from biology class and his half-assed attempt to kiss me. Christian reaches for my hand. Don't sweat this, Anastasia. He murmurs, and I return his reassuring squeeze. I know he's doing what he thinks is right. Mid-morning, I have a break in meetings. As I pick up the phone to call Kate, I notice an email from Christian.
Hello, folks. Very
From
welcome to
Christian
another
Grey.
History of the World podcast.
Subject,
Unscripted
flattery.
episode.
Date, August
These are just the
23rd,
episodes that we
2011,
created each week,
9:54.
between
To Anastasia
volume 3
Gray.
and volume 4.
Mrs. Gray,
Volume 4
I have
will be
received 3 compliments on my new
in 3
haircut.
weeks' time,
Compliments
so
from my
very
staff are
exciting.
new.
And,
It must be the ridiculous smile I'm wearing whenever I think about last night. You are indeed a wonderful, talented, beautiful woman, and all mine. Christian Grey, CEO, Grey Enterprises Holdings, Inc. I melt reading it. From Anastasia Gray. Subject, trying to concentrate here. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 10:48. To Christian Grey. Mr. Grey, I am trying to work and don't want to be distracted by delicious memories. Is now the time to confess that I used to cut Ray's hair regularly? I had no idea it would be such useful training. And yes, I am yours, and you, my dear, overbearing husband, who refuses to exercise his constitutional right under the Second Amendment to bear arms, are mine. But don't worry, because I shall protect you, always. Anastasia Gray, Editor, SIP. From Christian Grey. Subject, Annie Oakley. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 10:53. To Anastasia Gray. Mrs. Gray, I am delighted to see you have spoken to the IT department and changed your name. Big smile emoticon. I shall keep safe in my bed knowing that my gun-toting wife sleeps beside me. Christian Grey, CEO and Hoplophobe, Grey Enterprises Holdings, Inc. Hoplophobe? What the hell is that? From Anastasia Gray. Subject, long words. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 10:58. To Christian Grey. Mr. Grey, once more you dazzle me with your linguistic prowess. In fact, your prowess in general. And I think you know what I'm referring to. Anastasia Gray, Editor, SIP. From Christian Grey. Subject, gasp. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:01. To Anastasia Gray. Mrs. Gray, are you flirting with me? Christian Grey, shocked, CEO, Grey Enterprises Holdings, Inc. From Anastasia Gray. Subject, would you rather? Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:04. To Christian Grey. I flirted with someone else. Anastasia Gray, Brave Editor, SIP. From Christian Grey. Subject, grrr. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:09. To Anastasia Gray. No. Christian Grey, Possessive CEO, Grey Enterprises Holdings, Inc. From Anastasia Gray. Subject, wow. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:14. To Christian Grey. Are you growling at me? Because that's kind of hot. Anastasia Gray, squirming in a good way. Editor, SIP. From Christian Grey. Subject, beware. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:16. To Anastasia Gray. Flirting and toying with me, Mrs. Gray? I may pay you a visit this afternoon. Christian Grey, Priapic CEO, Grey Enterprises Holdings, Inc. From Anastasia Gray. Subject, oh no. Date, August 23rd, 2011, 11:20. To Christian Grey. I'll behave. I wouldn't want my boss's boss's boss getting on top of me at work. Winking emoticon. Now let me get on with my job. My boss's boss's boss may fire my ass. Anastasia Gray, Editor, SIP. From Christian Grey. Subject, unspecified expletive symbols. Date, August 23rd, 2011. 11:23. To Anastasia Gray. Believe me when I say there are a great many things he'd like to do to your ass right now. Firing you is not one of them. Christian Grey, CEO and Assman, Gray Enterprises Holdings, Inc. His response makes me giggle. From Anastasia Gray. Subject, go away. Date, August 23rd, 2011. 11:26. To Christian Grey. Don't you have an empire to run? Stop bothering me. My next appointment is here. I thought you were a breast man. Think about my ass, and I'll think about yours. ILYX. Anastasia Gray, now moist, editor, SIP. I cannot help my despondent mood as Sawyer drives me to the office on Thursday. Christian's threatened business trip to New York has happened, and though he's been gone only a few hours, I miss him already. I fire up my computer and there's an email waiting for me. My mood lifts immediately. From Christian Grey. Subject, miss you already. Date, August 25th, 2011. 4:32. To Anastasia. Date, August Christian Grey. Let me know when you land. I'll worry until you do. And I shall behave. I mean, how much trouble can I get into with Anastasia Gray, editor, SI. I hit send and sip my latte, courtesy feel this unsettled and anxious, just because from lunchtime, I start manically checking my email and my BlackBerry for a text. Has he landed safely? I want lunch, but I'm too apprehensive and wave her away. I know it's irrational. Hi! I'm grinning from ear to ear. Flight. Long. What are you doing with Kate? Oh no. We're just going out for a quiet drink. Christian says nothing. Sawyer and the new woman, Prescott, are coming to watch over us. I offer, trying to placate him. I thought Kate was coming to the apartment. She is. After a quick drink. Please let me go out. Christian sighs heavily. Why didn't you tell me? He says quietly. Too quietly. I mentally kick myself. Christian, we'll be fine. I have Ryan, Sawyer, and Prescott here. It's only a quick drink. Christian remains resolutely silent, and I know he's not happy. I've seen her only a few times since you and I met. Please, she's my best friend. Anna, I don't want to keep you from your friends, but I thought she was coming back to the apartment. Okay, I acquiesce. We'll stay in. Only while this lunatic is out there. Please. I've said okay, I mutter in exasperation, rolling my eyes. Christian snorts softly down the phone. I always know when you're rolling your eyes at me. I scowl at the receiver. Look, I'm sorry.